Hello, 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 and welcome to. It's probably not really a prog review, is it? Probably not. Welcome to whatever we call this bit. Today, I'm talking about. Very carefully pull it up. I should have had it on my lap, shouldn't I? The making of Five Leaves Left by Nick Drake. You might have already seen the unboxing video. If not, go back one. There's an unboxing video. Nick Drake. Now there's a character. There's a character for you. Should we go back to the beginning? Back to the beginning. Back to the beginning. I'm old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember the beginning of time. No, not the beginning of time. I'm old enough to remember when the phenomena of Nick Drake began to kind of gain momentum. Again, I read a lot of music magazines back in the day, and there'd be articles, and certain people would, certain artists, I think Kate Bush is one of them, who mentioned Nick Drake. When he was alive, Nick Drake proverbially couldn't get arrested. Didn't sell many records, and kind of died in obscurity, But here we are. He has a box set out. How did this happen? Like I said, I was there. I saw it happen, unfold. I think it began in maybe the mid-80s. It certainly gained momentum in the 90s with more bands, citing him as an influence. There was a reissue campaign. And I remember again, we watched a few documentaries about him. I think it was one on BBC and whatnot. Was it called something like A Skin Too Few, or I don't know. It was a long time ago. I'm trying to remember all this stuff. It's hard to remember because I'm getting older. But I always resisted because I thought, people, what do they know? But I said to the missus, this was in the early 90s. I think it was, maybe it was around 94ish. I said to the missus, I know that if I buy a Nick Drake record, I'm going to end up liking him. So I'm going to resist. And I did for a while until I bought the Fruit Tree box set. And I can't remember when that was. I'm thinking it might have been the late 90s. I'm not sure when it was reissued. It's a box set that contained his three albums and a fourth CD. I think it's like the Time of No Reply compilation. And there was a little booklet inside. It was very nice, put together. And yeah, I became a fan. And then, how many years ago they did a vinyl reissue campaign where they brought the albums out again in a little box with some ephemera in, and I bought those and replaced the Fruit Tree box set. Went vinyl because you do, don't you? And so yeah, I became a Nick Drake fan. Nick Drake is a peculiar character. Not that he died young, that's not peculiar, it's a very sad story. Obviously, if you read about him and read the many books and biographies that have been about him, you realise that he was different, troubled to some extent, probably by his lack of success. Who knows, he's not here to explain the whys and wherefores of it. But his music, it's folk, but again, I describe it thusly. There are many kinds of folk music in British folk music at that time. You've got the Fairport kind of stuff, which is a bit hey nonny nonny, and then you've got the John Martin stuff, which is a bit more kind of modern, and then you've got Drake in the middle of all this, very much doing his own thing. Again, it's very British, very middle class. I shouldn't like it. It's too middle class. Very twee, very pastoral. It comes from almost like from a different time. It's almost like the 50s being dragged into the 70s, if you were. It's almost like you can almost hear the sound of leather on willow and the clattering of china tea sets and scones being served for tea. You can almost hear that in his music. But there's something, again, I'm not sure if it's the story, I'm not sure if it's the mythos that's grown around him, that kind of imbues the music with an otherworldliness. Again, if he'd been around, if he only made 3 albums and was still alive, would there be the mystique? That whole thing where people either die or drop out. I'm thinking of like Hendrix or Barrett or whatever. Would they have the same notoriety if they still carried on or was still around? But I don't know, was working in Tesco's or something. I don't know. We don't know. But anyway, Drake's music comes from another place. I think it's worthy of interest. If you like that kind of music, again, for many, it's not for them. I resisted it. I thought it'd be too twee for me, but I really enjoy, especially the second and third albums. I really like those. So we get this box set. A bit of a peculiar. It was a bit of I had a bit of a tough time getting it because I didn't pre-order it. A bit unusual for me. I decided not to pre-order, and I thought I'll get it when we got some money in the account. Your bills needed to be paid, and I thought I'll get it after the release date. A week after the release date, I'll get it then. And it sold out. I couldn't get it. It sold out everywhere. And so I had to go on a bit of a vision quest to discover where it was. And I found a copy in Ireland, like you do, for a good price. Other places was trying to scalp, even online, proper online, not eBay. eBay, they're scalping it there, but even online retailers were selling it for over about nearly £180, I think it was. And it should be around 90 to £110. But I found this one in Ireland, got a 10% off discount for my first purchase because I was a new boy. Brought the price down to the RRP, so I was very happy with that. And it took a bit of time to get it, and that's why I was late with the review and everything. And I was also enjoying it. I was enjoying it because I also listened to it on the streaming when I was walking the dog, and got the set and played it on vinyl, which is a different experience altogether. Normally, I'm a little bit when it comes to box sets. You're just going to leave it on the shelf? But because there's so little Nick Drake music, because there's only the 3 albums, and I think there's a 4th one which pulls together some other bits. I think it's gone under different names. Time of No Reply, Made to Love Magic. I think there's a couple of different compilations that kind of pulls these loose ends together. But anyway, there's so little of Nick Drake out there. This is quite a tantalising set for the fan. Because these are demos and rough recordings, and that have been largely unheard. Beverly Martin, wife of John Martin, who I name checked, actually found a cassette in a drawer. Found a tape reel in a drawer, not cassette, a tape reel. Got to be accurate because people will correct me in the comments, even though I'm brain farting my way through this and there is no script. So I'm just talking, and no one respects the man who improvises his videos without umming and ahhing. I just do it to camera. Oh man, you can tell where I've been wearing my headphones for a review, the next review. I've left a big dent in my head. See what I did? You don't get that with anyone else. Don't get that with anyone else. Yeah, she found this tape, reel of tape, which had these demos on, and they've been cleaned up and presented. This box set took 9 years to put together, and it's lovingly put together, and the demos sound amazing. And you hear Nick Drake talking to the recordist and the engineer and that, and it's again, it's a bit uncanny. It's a bit you're hearing him. You're hearing the personality. You're hearing him trying out ideas. Some songs come back and forth and are changed, and lyrics are different. It's one of those things where you get to see a bit of the process as well. And it's a remarkable box set. Yeah, there's repetition. You're going to get repetition, but if you treat each album as an album, rather than listen to it all at once. If you just take one at a time like I did. I'm going to listen to the first one, walk away. I'm going to listen to the second one. It's it's a pleasant experience. I think just sitting down and listen to the whole thing. I think you can get a little bit exhausted by the repetition. So yeah, you've got 3 discs. I think it's 30 tracks of new old material, and like I say, you get an insight into the man and where the songs came from. You get a new pressing of the actual album, which I've listened to. It's just again, it's not much else to add to it. Yeah, it sounds okay. I mean, the master tapes are damaged apparently, so they can't do a new master, and they're relying on like a digital master from the year 2000. So that's a shame. That's a real shame. That. And there's a big book. There's a big book with some writings in, and all the information about the making of these tracks. So it's pretty authoritative and well worth picking up. And I think was it 4 LPs, £100? Yeah, I think that's a reasonable price. I think my only niggle is I think the booklet should have been maybe hardbound, or the cover should have been on harder, thicker cardstock rather than that flimsy, floppy stuff. Just to give it a little bit more quality. That's just a niggle. I'm just being niggly. If you're a Nick Drake fan, get it, or don't get it. If you can't afford it, you can always stream it. I did stream it whilst I didn't have it, because I ordered it and I listened to it on streaming. I went both. I swung both ways. I went physical and digital at the same. I'm swinging both ways on this. You can do that, and you can explore a whole new world of Nick Drake, which is, like I say, it's remarkable. It's a remarkable record for somebody who had been gone for so many years, and yeah, new material, it's not new, but you know what I mean. It's new old material has been presented like this. I think it's one of those good box sets because there is such little stuff out there about Nick Drake, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was very, very worthwhile. And I think the CD box set is still out there, and that's about £90. So I think that's slightly less value, actually. I think that should probably have been about £40, £50. Now, if this had been released, turn of the millennia, if this had been released in the year 2000, I think they'd have sold loads of them. But now, I don't know. But anyway, I've been talking about the making of 5 Leaves Left by Nick Drake. Really good. Really enjoyed it. And and that's it. A recommendation. Thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, but now you know what that is, and that is ta-ta.